User management permissions are set at the user group and not the individual level. User groups should represent job descriptions or level of access. And the person who will manage your users and permissions needs to have the permission Manage User and User Group enabled. This permission is located under the User and User Group Management section of Web Services Permissions. To begin with, we will create a new user group. Navigate to User Group by clicking Management, then User Management, and finally User Groups. From the User Group screen, we can see our existing user groups. By default, the system will create 3 user groups for Administrator, Super User, and User. These user groups are system defaults and cannot be modified in any way. The permissions in these groups are common setups for many end users. If we need to create a custom user group outside of the system defaults, we can click Add New User Group. The first step to creating a new user group is to give the group a name and optional description. These names and descriptions ideally should help you identify the user group quickly and effectively. We will name our group Intern, The first screen shown is the Users screen. This screen allows you to add and remove users from the user group. From this screen, we can click the green plus sign next to any user to add them to this group. You can also use the search box to search for users by name or email address. Once a user is added, you can also remove them by clicking the red X. We can also add and remove all users. Enable Auto Include will automatically add all new users to this group. We do not have any interns at this time, so we can select Cancel to close this window. Next, we will discuss the Web Services Permission tab. From the Web Services Permissions tab, we can see that there are many sections of categories based around the types of permissions you want to offer the user group. To add or remove a permission, we can expand a section by clicking on it. By each permission, there's a checkbox that you can click to allow the user group to have access to those specific permissions. Or you can use the Group Admin toggle to add all of the items in that group. There's also an Administrative toggle, which gives full permissions to a user group. We can also expand all sections with a single click to quickly see a group's current permissions. This section has many different permissions. If you are interested in the specifics of the permissions here, please visit the OpenEye knowledge base. Now, let's take a look at the Two-Step Verification tab. Two-Step Verification has 2 settings. We can enable two-step verification, or we can force disable two-step verification requirement. Your organization may refer to this as multi-factor authentication. Enabling this feature is an easy way to enforce common IT best practices, ensuring a more secure login from end users. Some organizations may have a two-step verification opt-out user group that will only have the disable option selected. Please note that all two-step verification uses SMS text messages. Let's continue to Location/Camera tab. From here, we can add the locations that the users in this group can see. We can add individual cameras, locations, or location groups. This screen works the same as the Add User screen we have seen before. An important distinction is the Enable Auto Include toggle here. This is a toggle that will ensure any new locations that are added to your account automatically are included in this user's access. With Auto Enroll enabled, we can see the location screen now simply says all locations. And to change this option, we can click the Turn Off Auto Include button. We will leave Auto Include for this group. The Hidden Cameras tab is where we can create camera exceptions to the Location/Cameras tab. From here, we see all of our cameras. For our intern users, they will not need access to Server 2 cameras. As we can see, a location has now been added. And if we expand OpenEye HQ-Guest, there are all the cameras that we have listed. We can add more cameras from this location. We can remove individual cameras, or remove the whole location, both of which would grant access to more cameras to this user group. Here we can see the ability to give the user various permissions with exporting, managing, and sharing video clips. For our interns, we want to allow them to view clips shared with the user, but limit that access to only the locations in this group. A note about the Limit Access option. If we have hidden cameras, these clips will still be shown to the user using this permission. We will continue to the General Info tab. From the General Info tab, we can update the name and description of the group, delete the group, as well as clone the group. Cloning the group allows you to save time and resources by starting from an existing group and only making the changes needed. A few important notes to remember for best practices. Always configure your user groups completely before adding users. This will ensure proper access. Always ensure users only have access to the permissions they need. Setting all users to admin can cause many issues and disruptions, including to the recorder itself. Once your security is completely set, use a test user to ensure proper access. Always ensure your user groups align with your organizational structure. Now that we have created the user groups, we will create a new user to add to that group. To begin with, navigate to Management, then User Management, and finally, Users. Just like with our user groups, we have the ability to edit an existing user with the Edit button, or, as we will do in this lesson, add a new user by clicking Add New User. From here, we can enter the basic information needed for a new user, including name, email address, and user group. I will fill out this screen now. We are only able to add a single user group from this screen. Do note, any user groups with the Enable Auto Enroll option under User will be added in addition to the selected group from this screen. If we do not wish to modify the user anymore, we would be done. However, let's explore some of the other options. We can use the search bar in the upper right to find a particular user in the list, and once we've located that user, we can click Edit to see additional options. From this screen, we can update basic demographic information. We can also define employee information and define if this person is the main point of contact for OpenEye about technical issues. We can also delete the user if needed. From here, we can use the Add User to User Group button to add this user to any additional groups that we want. If a user is part of multiple groups, they will be given all permissions within all groups. This includes access to all locations, all enabled permissions, and all hidden and restricted cameras and locations. We can add and remove groups here in the same way we've done so already. Here we can decide if this individual user will receive email and push alerts for report notifications. From this screen, we can use the Add Alert rule to this account. This will cause a notification in OWS and, depending on settings and notification, may also email or push a notification to the user. The same is true about the report screen. An important note for both alerts and reports. You cannot create a new report or alert from this workflow. You can only add existing ones.